So my first job started with, okay, so just to start from where I stopped, I was in Delhi and I missed one of the interviews from Infosys. So again, remember that if you're changing your addresses and Infosys sent me an interview letter and I completely missed it out because I moved to a newer house and that time it was all rentals. So those kind of mistakes, if you do, just take care your addresses because initial 3 months I applied to many jobs from one of the Delhi addresses and I had to move and everything. Unfortunately, it didn't come through email. It was a hard copy. So those days were a little different, and I missed on one or two interviews. So this is 2003, end of 2003. One of my friend was actually looking at CDAC. So I didn't get the job the first year itself. Uh, yes, yes, yes. Yes. So I went there. They again had interviews and all. They also had the placement. But so yeah, it was from January till July, I guess, and they were teaching both the VLSI. So that's where the VLSI came into the picture. I was not having a great outlook from college per se because our curriculum doesn't have that VLSI part, right? The basics obviously matter. And then, once the course was over, I again went back to interviews, and that is where I started getting calls because a year down the line, things were better. And then I got into my first job in TCS subsidiary called CMC Limited. Yeah. Yes. So, wow. Right. So my first job itself, I learned few tricks of the trade. First thing is, the impression is made within first month itself, and that what determines the majority part of your stay in that company, and that is very real. I have been on both the sides as a fresher, and now I am evaluating the young bloods joining our firm. So what you should do is be very clear on the note taking aspect of it. Once you get a job, what people are not doing correctly is they are listening to what we are telling about the process, about the steps, and then when you assign them a work, and even if you have demoed them, they will come back and they will ask the same questions, and then that's a big negative. So during the COVID times, at least some people were smart enough to record the sessions because everything was online and people were using, right? But so you can do that. Don't expect the other guy who is your supervisor to record it for you. Okay. And there are so many stuffs they will be telling you, and then you go back and you start working on it. You realize you have missed some steps. You come back to us. It looks little odd because it looks like you haven't done your homework. That's one part very important. Hmm. Right. Yeah, there would be a story on 2008 as well. And in fact, even now we are reeling under a little bit of recession, as we can see. The Trump administration, when it was there, the jobs in US market were in very volatile conditions. So I'll quickly go to that as well. But as of now, guys, see, job is opportunity with luck. So half of you won't be lucky. I was not lucky, but I'm not doing bad. I'm doing as good as what others were doing. So it's up to us. I mean, how we want to take it. But yeah, it will be little spirit dampening if you don't get a placement. But don't waste your time, first of all. And secondly, if you're in Bangalore, please join some courseworks, especially related to your field. For software, you have compilers and you can actually do stuff, but find somebody from industry who can actually guide you with one of the projects. Because when there's a gap from your college and you have nothing to show, that's a negative. For me, CDEC kind of gave me two projects, so that kind of helped, right? And CDEC had a little industry touch, so they gave me something which I could actually show, and my interview would no longer be like, tell us about VGT versus FET. It would be more about what did you project. That's what happens after 2 years of experience. Every interview starts with the project. They will like ask you to, they will ask you to explain the project, and then they will go downward into it to see how your college concepts are good enough or not. Like today, even if today, if I go to an interview like the last one I gave in HP and all, what they do is the project, and then it trims down to the basics of operation op amps, BJT, all D flip flops. It drops to that. And if you're in software, it's little easier because you grow as you grow with your experience. I don't think you have to run around with so many concepts in electronics. Yeah. Yes, because you will have a gap. You How will you fill the gap? You will just say, I was just looking for a job. That's not a good idea. I mean, if you want to stand out, have some projects. I saw that in Bangalore right now. There are people from Intel who are taking classes and for electronics. So because VLSI unfortunately is not easy. It's not as easy as software is, because you can actually code with any compiler. But with VLSI, you need the tools. You will get it all on those courses. Obviously it will be costing you something, but it's little yeah. Mhm. Go ahead, go ahead. Yes. Right. So see, hardware-based software. So it's little different than what you do with your C++ in a company like say Infosys or Wipro. I mean, they also started VLSI. That's where I was also a part of. But the software industry is so much required in the electronics industry, especially if you are looking at how controllers are going to process stuff. So that is where embedded engineering comes into the picture, and it's really highly paid. IBM for sure paid very huge in Bangalore when I was there. So whenever we used to test, and yeah, just to give you a base, just give me 2 minutes on this. Your hardware design will have mostly PCB and chip design, right? So Indians are pretty good at PCB side of it. We are not good at all with IC domain because the fabrication and all is all in China, right? So IC is is it fine? I don't know why it did that. Is it fine now? Yeah. Yeah. So EDA industry is mostly comprising of the knowledge of electronics, which would be mostly PCB or IC domain. Okay. And in both the sides, you need software coders who know these things so that they can code the features in. Here, what they usually look at is Visual Basic, C++, and they create graphics. These days, every graphics is driven by GPU. I'm sure you might be aware of GPU, right? So GPU-driven interaction, and these are electronics engineers who are coding, and you won't believe their packages are as high as 300, 350K in US right now. They are like 10 years experience. So, so yeah, so if you're thinking that, you just need to go into code software, you need not. If you're an electronics engineer, I would suggest embedded programming. How controller will work when you power on a system. Everything has to be in a known state. Who takes care of it? Embedded programmers. There's a firmware side of it. The firmware engineers, that's a little subset. So firmware, as the name suggests, would be firm, something which is in a non-volatile RAM. So you need not, uh, uh, I mean, you can go to it, but that is more like a device driver kind of thing. Power on, and then you look at the firmware. But embedded programming pays a huge. So I'm just giving you all the hot jobs right now because what I realized is no matter how good you are in terms of smartness or knowledge or hard work, uh, the guys who make most money are the ones who are in a very hot field. They might be very average, but the field is so high, so up right now that people are not there. So even if you know the basics, you are getting so much. So yeah, the other advice would be for you guys to, when you are in industry sooner or later, keep an eye on what is hot. And if you are not in that field, like say beggars cannot be choosers, if you get into one of the jobs, you have to continue with that. In parallel, look at what kind of technology is really paying huge and learn it in parallel. Don't waste your time and then jump to that technology as soon as possible. The more delay you do, the you're lacking the opportunities there. So you need to be at the lookout because if you so I personally believe you should make money in the first 20 years of your life. So yeah, go ahead. Embedded C is there. Then if you look at RTL programming, there's System C as well. There used to be Verilog, VHDL, then System C and all. But I haven't worked on it. I just know the terminologies. Yeah. So yeah, so if I have to give you my basics, like I started with a power supply design in printed circuit board, uh, and so there one capacitor exploded on my eyes, and I was pretty afraid working on that field. So that is where I decided to move on towards application engineering of the things. So in electronics industry, there are many like you can have uh, right now there's robotics here. I'm in Boston, by the way. There's a fall color behind, just like 15 minutes distance. We have Boston Dynamics. I hope you know. It's one of the most famous robotics. They have robot dogs and all. So they are hiring. Then we have Apple, we have Amazon here. So they are all hiring for multiple roles in hardware. So you have power supply engineers and many more. I mean, I don't even have names. So automotive. I was in networking as well. So it is diversifying, and there you need to be an expert in one of them. Uh, so yeah, uh, that's it. But mhm, yes, yeah. Yes. Right. So if I just talk about EDA, because EDA pays really good. Before that, I'll just like you guys to know that the demarcation for the jobs, mostly from India and here, is service-based versus product-based. So EDA industries are electronic design automation. They have their own products. Like Cadence makes tools for IC designing and for PCB designing. Okay, and lately they have come up into mechanical aspect, the thermal, the computational fluid dynamics. They are actually simulating all that, and it is used everywhere from data centers to medical to IoT, Internet of Things. I've seen lots of applications there, and each one of it has its own software division. So now it is amalgamation of both hardware and software together. So you should actually focus on that. Otherwise, core software is also fine. They're also getting decent amount. But I've seen like a core software. If you're applying for a job, you will have like 200 applicants on a single day. While in software related to hardware, the competition is little less, and with your experience, you will be quickly climbing the ladder. Software guys, they have to be really good at it, and yeah, there's huge money. I mean, I won't denounce core software jobs. The financial tech with software is also doing very good, but if you're an electronics engineer, look at software driven hardware. That would be the best thing to do. Okay, so for resume, I will tell that every job requires some specific keywords. So I have lots of recruiters even who were talking with me, and they will immediately say you need to add these keywords. How do you get the keywords? These days it's pretty easy. Go to ChatGPT, paste the job description, ask it to list all the the important keywords, add it in your resume. So every resume needs to be different for different kind of job. So even if it's a similar role, obviously your projects cannot change. That would be kind of fraud. So you did some projects, but if you're missing out on some keywords, or some keywords you can add with the working knowledge, just spend a day or two to learn about it, and you can tell that, yeah, I'm aware of it. You get benefit of doubt. If you are good with your concepts, they will and the best thing is, if your keywords are there, usually you get a call, especially after 2 years of your experience. Getting a call will not be a big headache. The headache would be how to crack a good interview, because you need to be extremely good at it. Yeah. See, LinkedIn is far more profound in United States rather than India, because I didn't see much value in India. India, Naukri.com used to be a big thing, and I'm talking about 2014 and before, right? Here, Dice.com was a big thing. But lately, what has happened is, in LinkedIn, once you are working, and like right now, I'm a principal engineer. After that, I'm getting so many calls, and I'm getting calls from all the biggies, like all the fan companies. They are asking, and they're HRs are pinging that, we have this opportunity. Would you like to? So again, if I have to move, it would be easier for me. I'm obviously not looking right now, but if I have to, so it becomes easy. So LinkedIn does makes your life easy. Remember, what you post on LinkedIn has to be properly phased. Don't put so you can add keywords anytime, and you can change. Your resume can differ slightly, but it should match, because they would know, what you have written in LinkedIn and then what you have written in your resume. They should match. The duration should match. So yeah, so take care of those things, and yeah, let it be LinkedIn. I guess I heard there's an option to enable it for looking for a job kind of thing, and if you do that, yeah. So the only concern here is, as a fresher, you will not get that opportunity as much, because that's the struggle part. Getting your first job, 2 years experience, and you're through. So yeah, that's about LinkedIn. Right, right. So, my first job with CMC, as I said, I was not very much interested. I mean, it was good. There were software guys who were saying, "Wow, you're doing very fanciful job. You're making a board, a motherboard, and then creating a power supply for it." And it was used by some big firms in America. So the problem was that I was not getting much interested in it. And unlike software, the money as well as the quality of life was little stale here. So, I looked at what, and other thing you would face is after 2 years of your first job, which would be more like, staying with your college friends or friends who are like college friends. 2 years everything changes. They would just move out from the company. You would be the only one sticking to that company another 6 months, and you would be like, no man, I have to move. So that's a peer pressure. People will get better money, and that time, the service based firms like Infosys, Wipro were pretty famous. One of my friends took a very good route. I'll just talk about it. I hope you know there's something called body shoppers. That's the model of training guys and then subcontracting them. That's pretty famous in America. It's called body shopping companies. So one of my friends did ask me, like, I'm applying and they're charging some money and I have that saving. They will file my H1. So H1 is the most prestigious work visa you get to work in America. And if you do get in 6 years, I'm pretty sure you save around, even if you get, so the minimum requirement for H1 is $65,000. Okay. And firms like, say, service based, I'm not taking the names, they will be paying you around 75, 80K for sure. If then you jump to product based, you will be making 110 within 5 to 6 years of your experience. That's what is happening right now. So I did masters with some of the very freshers, like they didn't had any um, market experience, but they are making as much 110K, 130K, and a standard life. So that's close to 1 crore, right? You save almost one third of it every year. Yeah, but I digress. What was the actual question? Sorry, I just go into that flow. Yeah, right. Right, right. So after TCS, yeah, that's what happened. My friends left, and I was like reeling under pressure. There were new people coming in, and I just didn't felt fitting in. So I just started giving interviews. I was getting calls, as I said. After 2 years, you start getting calls. So it's a matter of who is going to pay you more and which city you want to move to. I got into Wipro and I had a very nice time there. I was into PCB design, and again, we were doing some consulting job where we were guiding different projects. I was also training newcomers, but that is where the things really went down. That is where the recession hit us, and 2008 recession was really bad. So people were losing job, and there was a big like people were removed left, right, and center. Many people lost their jobs. So that's the time I also got a little upset. I didn't get sacked or something. I resigned because I was not getting where I was supposed to go. There was a plan to send me to US that didn't finalize. So just to build the pressure, I just resigned, and the next day I was out of the company. So that happened because that's time when I went for getting all my certifications and all, company leaving certificate. They relieving letter, by the way. So experience letter and relieving letter. There was this huge line, and everybody was kind of sacked that time. So it was that bad. And they were like, "Oh, you faced this," and I'm like, "No, I did it on my own." But yeah, I expected a 30 days notice. So notice period is something which you're going to face. It's a major disaster everywhere. Indian firms force you to stick on to, and the other companies will say you have to join immediately, and that's a very painful time. But it should be mutual, right? It should be followed by the other firms, but they don't. They usually, if you resign, they will happily kick you out. But I mean, if they want you to be retained, then they will force you to you stick on to the notice period, and otherwise they will kick you out. They won't even pay you the 2 months notice that you were supposed to get. So yeah, there are some here and there stuff after Wipro. Right. So and I went and so as you remember, MBA was my plan. So I gave GMAT, thinking that I have some savings. And yeah, coming to the savings, just so that invest in mutual funds. It later on helped me a lot because, and that was not my choice. There was this when I joined Wipro, the outside, and Wipro is so huge, like there are thousands of people joining it. They have some specific dates. So there were people outside who were actually telling, convincing you to spend your part of the salary in mutual fund. And I did it because I couldn't say no to the people. I was not interested, by the way. It helped me later on, and I'll show you how. So in the meantime, I got a job in so before I got a job, I gave GMAT. I scored 620 around that. It is supposed to be 800. Now, see how I was not aware that MBA costs you around 70 to 80 lakhs in America. On the contrary, masters, MS, it just costs you around 25 lakhs, right? In MS, you get lots of scholarship. In MBA too, but MBA is beyond our pockets if you are from a middle class. No, don't plan MBA. Plan uh, MS. So that was the time I really was disillusioned with management. And right now, management is almost nil. Like everybody is becoming technical manager, not people's manager. Those are like not even getting paid that much. So what happened is those 2 months I had a break. I remember September is when I gave GMAT. I didn't score 720. My target was I was way behind. So I thought I'll take some job and I'll prepare again. So I went for HCL. Again, that's the minor exploitation. I gave the interview for Bangalore. I was actually staying in Bangalore. I was in Wipro Bangalore, and they said yeah, yeah, yeah. And when the offer letter came, I was I was off to Chennai. So that was something. Yeah, I was not looking at, but that's the beauty of recession. They will make you do anything. It's full exploitation there. So I finally reached HCL. And yeah, I mean, I saw many things, Hyderabad, Bangalore, then you have Chennai, little bit of Kochi. I had a project, some project driven travel I had. So 1 year I was there, and obviously when you're Chennai, people are nice, everything. The language issues are there, food issues are there. I realized I need to change my gear, and I came to know that. Uh, EDA industry is on a different level. It pays good and it has a different work structure. So that is when I moved towards the EDA in Cadence. They were opening. I was keeping an eye. I applied. They called me and they interviewed me in Bangalore. And again, there was this one girl from me from Wipro. I met her. She was also giving the interview. She was pretty good, but why she failed? Because she said that her long-term plan is MBA or doing management or something. It really doesn't goes well with majority of interviewers. So if you are giving, so be very careful when you're talking about your long-term plans. It never works. And another thing, yeah, about the about like when you're having 5 years experience, you can negotiate your salary. What happened is I was almost getting doubled up in Cadence, and I was given a call by the HR, and they asked me like, "Are you okay with it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." The next thing I know, I'm being called and I'm being told that, okay, sorry, but this amount is not to be part of your level. It is supposed to be for a level higher. And I was like shocked. So why that happened? Because after 5 years, you're expected to negotiate. So do negotiate. It's not like just happily accept whatever you're getting. They will lower it down. So that's HR's work. Anyway, that was one of the tips you can have. And then as you, Mhm. Yes, yes, EDA, right. Right. So again, so let me give you the structure of EDA. You have developers who should know the electronics part of it. There are separate domains and there are separate tools. Each has its own developer. Now, what do they develop, and why a software guy should look at the hardware coding? I'll tell you why. You get to file as many patents for every new feature that is being built. If there's a new place and route algorithm, you get patent on your name. Obviously, it belongs to the company, but this is something you don't get in as a normal software guy in any fintech company and all, because you don't file patents, right? Here, patent is a very big thing. So the more patents you have, the immediate permanent residency you get in America. So what you should be doing is, if you're interested in software and you're into electronics engineering, or electrical, focus on coding for EDA. And there are lots of jobs. You have Synopsys, you have Cadence, you have Ansys, you have Altium, and there are many. I'm missing half of them. Then there's mechanical. Siemens EDA, yeah, Mentor Graphics, correct. So all those are there. So that's the developer part of it. But what do they develop? Who tells them you develop this? So there should be a guy who would be interacting with the clients, right? So those people are called product engineers. So they are also very high paid and they're very less in numbers. So as you can see, if there's a 30 odd team of developers, you have one product engineer talking, and they're always traveling. They're meeting guys from all the big tier companies, and they're so tier is a part of like who is paying more, right? So that becomes your main tier companies. So you kind of collaborate, and they say that okay, this is our research, and we found that this kind of routing is enhancing our design for IC domain. So this is then this comes to the developers. Developers file a patent because there's a method of procedure. So even though Synopsys or any other company is doing it, these people are able to do it in their own unique way. So patent is usually, I have seen everybody is getting patent. And then the next thing is, yes, yes. So yeah, yeah, I'll just do that. I'll just complete the structure so that people are aware. And once so product engineers bring in the new features, developers develop it. Product validators like me, we validate it. We have light scripting. We have understanding of the tools because I've worked in the industry, so I know how the tool flows. So those kind of jobs are there. Then there's a product marketing. That is where your MBA comes into the picture. They have huge amount of salary based on their sales. So if they have very good sales, they make lots of money, but that is where the most layoffs also happen. So MBA, if you're thinking, think again because I did that mistake. So not now. MBA ported for later if you really want to do it. And then yeah, these are the major jobs which we are talking about. Now coming to your query. So can you just repeat the query again? Right. 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 So US moving to US was not an easy decision because you leave your family behind. And as a student, after working for 10 years, so I started working from 2004 and 2014. I came here in August. Yeah. So I actually one was obviously I always wanted to see United States, and I wanted to see the world. And I'm not homesick. All my life I've been moving. So as I look back into my life, I haven't stayed in any one place for more than 5 years. So what happened is when I was completing around 5 years, that's the time I was heavily sick, and thanks to the least pollution, right? I'm asthmatic. I've been asthmatic all my life. So doctors were telling me if you're taking so many medications, you get allergic, and I got allergic to milk. I got allergic to gluten, which is part of usual flour atta. So what I did is I decided to move out. Unfortunately, with the product-based firms, you don't really get much of the outside, collaboration, and they don't send you to United States or Europe. But service-based have that opportunity. Service-based usually pays less, but you might get a chance to come abroad. The other way to do is to do an education. Now, this is where I was like all the life I was looking at MBA, and I realized till 2013 I was towards MBA, and then I somebody told me, man, this is too expensive. They don't give you too much of scholarship. So MS, it's a long-term process. So remember that it's like if you have to move. So there are three semesters, right? You have spring, you have summer, and then you have yeah, whatever semesters are there. So what you have to do is you have to plan almost like 8 9 months before. Give GRE. And for MBA, you give GMAT, and then secure at least 320 out of 340. That was the last till 2014. If they change it, you need to find out. There's a process for every college. Statement of purpose matters a lot. I worked in the college admin as well because they allow you to work on campus. So I did some on-campus job in the college. But yeah, just so that you know, when you are doing MS, uh, the banks are there to help you out, but it's a little expensive, obviously. But you have to do a collateral, so your house and all your parents will have to help you out. So that is where I got that help, and that is where I also got the help from the initial mutual fund spending that I did. Every month, some part of my salary was getting cut, and you won't believe it, what I when I spent 1.5 lakhs, I got around 4.2 lakhs at that time after 7 8 years. So that's the power of compounding. Do that. Pay, what was the other thing that helped? You get PF. PF was huge after like 10 years. I mean, it was decent enough. So just to give you an idea, MS you should do from a decent college. I didn't get to choose because I was too late in the industry. So I just immediately jumped. And I didn't have to bother because I had my experience. I can get into any company, so that kind of helped. So yeah, you can. Real Dickinson, yeah. So the thing is like this college is not a great college. It's okay. Life is really nice. It's very close to New York. But so I can see Empire State Building from my place. That's pretty famous landmark in America, New York, basically. So I had a good life there. But I would say, and what I did see is like every subject is costing you around $3,000 without the scholarship. So I'll suggest do your college search very well. Georgia Tech, for example, go wherever the college has a collaboration with the industry. People in Georgia Tech right now are placed in Microsoft, Google. They were really good, and they got a very good exposure there. Lots of Indian professors, and they're helping you integrate with the industry. Not that didn't happen with my college, so I had to again start as a on a job lookout. Now, one thing you should know if you're doing MS, and I would suggest don't do MS, rather go with PhD. And I'll tell you, we have time, right? We can collaborate these two. Okay. Yeah, I'll try to explain in like next 2 minutes. So MS, the problem is you're as good as how the economy is good. There are lots of body shoppers who are going to train you, so they will give you some money as well. And as soon as you graduate from US, you get a 1 year EDA, you can work here, not EDA, EAD, sorry, employment authorization. So what happens is you can work 8 hours every day. Um, so you have a cushion, you get these people, body shoppers who so there's some paperwork needed as a student visa to work, to get a work authorization. They do all the needful, and then you start giving interviews, and if you get through the interviews, they make some money. So almost 20-30% of the money is gone there. You get the 70%. Initially it is less, fine, but freshers are coming and doing it. The money they are making is far more than what my managers in India are making, right? Because that's the beauty of dollar. At the end of the year, they're free, and they have 1 year experience, 2 year experience. They can just go to any other firm. They now are ready for the market. So I've seen people grow in last 5 6 years, but this year it's really bad. People are literally crying. I know 3 4 people have contacted me. There's no job in the market. Even the body shopping companies, which are mostly desi companies, they have stopped hiring people. So they usually will pay very less initially, and they will pack you with 7 8 people in a room. They give you the fooding and lodging. But so that was one question that people have, if you're doing masters. But why PhD is far superior? Because PhD, in America, it gives you the pathway for permanent residency almost immediately, provided you have done the research and your papers are listed in IEEE or IET, and your papers are having a high index factor. They call it H index factor, and it's called the load impact or something, impact factor. So if you're getting that in 5.5 years, citations, yes, yes. So if you actually hit that much, you know what, you directly can apply for a green card. And I know one of my friend got green card in like less than 2 years. While people like us, we will be on H1 line, it will take 15 years to get green card. So green card is something you need not change your nationality, but you can continue working here for as long as you want. Um, so yeah, that's about it. PhD, I would suggest go with PhD if you're a fresher. It really is an awesome thing because American PhDs are very sought after, and this is not easy if you're actually going to achieve it. It's a massive feat, I can tell you, because companies take you with lots of admiration. You don't have to worry. Georgia Tech is working with all the big firms. They are telling that, okay, this guy who was working on this project, we want him, and they're giving so much of money here. So PhD, if you have that in you, but 5.5 years minimum after your BTech is what they take, and that includes MS plus the remaining part to PhD. It won't be very easy, and traveling to India would be very less. You won't have money, but PhD is actually almost 90% financed by US itself. So look on those aspects. Stipend, on-campus work. So on-campus work is also very nice, and you need to grade, bachelor students. So you would love it. I had a very gala time there back when I was doing MS. So the only thing you will miss is you will miss India a lot. You will not be able to travel a lot because you don't have money to always travel, and especially in times of festivals like you are having Diwali and all, right? So I'm going to miss India a lot right now. But yeah. So see, PhD, it's very difficult. Like 5 years in the industry, and then you decide to pursue PhD. Your parents would be actually very unhappy. You won't even be able to get married because you're studying. So you don't have an option. Personally, if you're planning MS, I would say don't go with MS, do PhD, and your life is set in America if you really want to come to America because it's the easiest way with lots of respect once you have PhD. I mean, companies are taking you left, right, and center, and I'm not joking. And even if there is economic downturn, you have a postdoctoral research fellowship that you get. It's all about right, right. So the companies are there, and for research scientists, companies are always open. Companies are not open for freshers. Unfortunately, companies are not open for any skill set which is commonly available, like a software engineer. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Right. Yes. Yeah, I wish I could have some good advice, but if opportunities are less, there's not much you can do except that what I said. Keep developing yourself. Don't waste your time. Just you apply to somewhere and then you expect that, okay, I'm not getting a call. 6 months went by. What did you do in that 6 months? That is the major thing, and if you're able to come up with some good projects, sooner or later you will get the calls. Keep posting for the calls. It's going to be difficult right now. Your parents would expect you should have a job. You don't have a job. Peer pressure will be there. It's all going, but I can assure you of one thing. 10 years down the line, each one of you will be almost at the same level. Very little, 5% here and there, because I was a very ordinary student, couldn't crack any of the interviews, but here I am and I'm making decent amount. So yeah. Yeah. Yes, yes. Yeah, it's really good. Really good. Yeah, I enjoyed talking. It feels good. 20 years. I mean, I was just there 20 years. If I rewind the time and if we build a time machine, I'll be there with you guys. So, yeah, cool. So, as I said, I have been here for 9 years. I could barely travel for 2 times. It was expensive, and then you meet your parents. You don't get the time to do anything else. So, very less likely. But thankfully, the technology is making us meet. Right? We are meeting. I mean, what was the probability 20 years down, back? So thankfully we met, and that's good. And yeah, just on that note, I also wanted to tell, in fact, encourage people who are there on the call. If you guys are looking for, so one thing I've been telling to many people, I like that dialogue is if everybody is giving a job, is taking a job, who is going to give a job? So think in terms of entrepreneurship. If you're making lots of money in the first 20 years of your life, you can start entrepreneur kind of jobs, creation and all. So on that note, I'm looking for a very small investment for people who really want to, achieve something. Like there's Amazon. I'm seeing it has tremendous potential of selling small toys, electronics based, or any projects like a chessboard that can move by itself, playing with a human opponent. All those, I mean, there are tens and thousands of ideas. So I would love if any of you are interested. I'm all for it. We can collaborate and we can get some project done. I would rather focus on second and third year student, not fourth and not first. Fourth, anyways, will be gone. The first year, I would ask you to take your time and learn new stuff. But second year, guys, third year, guys, let's build up upon something, and something that we can tangibly sell across Amazon. So that's what I'm looking. I have been, and I that's where Imanshu also came into the picture. So, uh, yeah, 9:56. So today it's a Veterans Day. Very less federal holidays in America, but today is one of the days. So I thought this is the day I should talk about it. This is, by the way, my office. Yeah, I can't show much, but I love this tree behind. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Are you still? Am I still visible? Okay, okay. Okay. So I was just trying to show you the fall colors because it's pretty famous in Boston. So the trees changed. Yeah, but I can't actually. It's all stuck here, and I don't think I can go above this. My laptop is stuck. So that's the tree. I don't know if you can see. It changes color like right, right. So it changes. Everything is orange right now, and it changes color for like it was green, and then it became red, then orange, then it will become yellow, and then it will become dry and fall off. So that's the fall semester I missed. Yeah, fall is there. So yeah.